Welcome to Nolan Knows. It's time for the lightning round. This is where the producers throw a bunch of questions at me and I try to answer them as quickly as I can. First on the list, Dancing with the Stars 2014 Season 19 celebrity cast has been revealed. You know, I don't really watch this program. It just doesn't strike me as terribly entertaining. But you're really not dancing with the stars until I'm dancing. Oh, you probably never heard of Twinkle Toes Nolan. And when I trip the light fantastic, it may not be light, but it's fantastic. Next on the list is Gabby Gifford. She steps into the spotlight in a heated Arizona House race. And one of the issues they're talking about is gun control. She and her husband have started an organization to promote gun control. Yet nothing on the agenda, nothing they've supported would have prevented the incident from happening in Arizona when she was shot. The truth is, if they enact gun control, you'll have more victims. Next on the list, dad indicted on murder charges in son's hot car death. I'm sure you remember the story. I know I do. The father was busy at work sending dirty pictures of himself to young girls while his infant son was strapped in a car seat roasting on a hot day. I don't know if all the information we've gotten is accurate and true, but if it is, I hope they find him guilty, and I hope he spends the rest of his life behind bars. Florida-bound Delta flight diverted over reclining seat dispute. This is happening more and more often. And it's happening more and more often because I think airlines are squeezing more and more people into less and less space. Somewhere along the line, something's got to change, because a guy my size doesn't want the seat reclining in front of him either. Marco Rubio says that the owner of the Washington Redskins shouldn't be forced to change the name of the team. I've seen surveys both of Native Americans and Washington Redskins fans, and they agree with the owner that it shouldn't be changed. You know what? If you don't like the name, don't go to the games. A story hot in the news also this week, I've seen it about a bazillion times, is about a Great Dane that ate 43 socks. Great Danes will drink water out of a toilet. I don't think socks are a deterrent. Nobody should be surprised that he ate socks. Also on the list from the producers this week, a story about a California city that is mandating that low-income residents get free medical marijuana. This is ironic in a city where you probably can't smoke on the sidewalk or in a private business, that they should suddenly be pushing smoke, marijuana smoke at that, for free, subsidizing it. California, land of fruits and nuts. This is the story of the week. 350 more U.S. troops are being sent to Iraq. You know, people don't really understand what's going on. We're falling into a trap here, and the trap is being set by ISIL. You see, there's kind of an election going on in radical Islamist world. They're trying to elect the biggest, baddest radical Islamist on the block, and Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda and ISIL and a variety of others are all in the race. And what ISIL has done is they've decided they're going to lob the heads off a couple of Americans in hopes that we do exactly what the president is starting to do, exactly what the Republicans have been coercing him into doing, exactly what the news media has been pushing him to do, and what you may have been pushing him to do. Because we get upset when we see Americans mutilated like that. It makes us angry. But here's the whole story behind the story. If we succumb to the trap, if we take the bait, if we go to war, then ISIL will tell Boko Haram and all of the other groups, we're the bad guys on the block. We're so bad that the big evil United States is coming after us. And that's how they win their election for being the badass of the Middle East. And they get all of these other followers to join them in their fight against the great evil Satan, the United States. We don't have to go to war with them. There are other countries there who are more deeply affected than we'll ever be, and they're slowly but surely beginning to turn the tide already in Iraq. Turkey, of course, has a huge army, and they've got all kinds of military equipment. Right now, Iran is involved in the fight with Iraq to get rid of ISIL. We have all kinds of people over there willing to fight the fight. They won't if we get in, because again, they're going to say we don't have to. Why would I want to split? Why would I want to shed blood if I can get the Americans to do it for me? We need not bite. Let them fight the fight. Let's keep our military for defending the United States. This segment of the program is, well, that's dumb. And it is. It's about ESPN's coverage of Michael Sam. You know, I had the privilege of living in the city where he played college football, and I don't remember anybody talking about his sexuality. Nobody cared. Even the players that work and played with him, they never talked about it. It was just never a big deal. You know why? Because Michael Sam is more interested in playing football than anything else. Well, now the Rams have decided they're not going to use him, but he's going down to Dallas. We got ESPN talking about whether or not he's going to be in the showers and what that's all about. All of that is nonsense. Here's what's important. What's important is you got a young man who likes to play football, who thinks he can make a living playing football, and who's going to play his heart out to get on a team. And I don't blame him. Forget talking about his sexuality. I think he made a mistake bringing it up. Nobody cares. What's important is, can he play? And I'm betting eventually he will. And this segment is If They Were Here. Well, for me this week, it would be Joan Rivers. I grew up watching her on television. She had an acerbic wit, and it was fast, and it was razor sharp. And you know, she never apologized. She never had to. She understood that what she was doing was to make people laugh. It was all in good fun. I'm going to miss seeing Joan Rivers. Not like I watched a lot of her programs on E! Or anything like that, but whenever she'd come on the screen or I'd see a quote of hers in the media, I was always entertained. I'd like to know how she developed that quick wit, and I'd like to thank her for making me laugh so often. This segment of the program is called Nolan Says No. Apparently, minimum wage workers are pushing for a $15 an hour wage. Well, at $15 an hour, you've got job displacement. That's when somebody more qualified than you is suddenly interested in your job, and because he's more qualified, he gets it, and you're unemployed. That's job displacement. But let's talk more about the numbers of people who are involved in minimum wage. The number of people, if you listen to the media, it sounds like a huge percent of the population getting paid minimum wage, trying to raise their families. Well, the truth is, less than 3%, 2.9% of the population make minimum wage. And if you look at the household incomes of the people who are making minimum wage, you'll find that almost half of them are living in households making in the neighborhood of $50,000 a year or more. So now it's an even smaller group of people who are making minimum wage. Now, when you raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour, employers are either going to displace you or they're going to buy a machine to replace you. That's why when you go to the gas station, you don't see full serve. You got to pump the gas yourself. That's also why we have ATM machines. We've replaced minimum wage labor with a machine that doesn't call in sick. There are all kinds of alternatives, but most of them result in fewer people working. Don't raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for less than 2% of the population. People who work and become valuable to their employers will naturally get raises because the employers will want to keep them. And the only way to keep them is to pay them more. So if you're making minimum wage, work harder, work smarter, be dedicated, don't call in sick, learn a job skill and become more valuable because the problem isn't the wage, it's the skill.